Alrighty, welcome back. This is our first official build video of the Nimitz. I did a very quick, just kind of unboxing and overview of this the other day, but I have all the parts out, instructions, and other stuff here. And I was wrong in the other video because in the other video I said that I thought there were two bottoms, depending on if you want it displayed on water or out of the water. And I looked in the box and I said, nope, there's not. There's only the one bottom. And I didn't even notice that because it was wrapped up in bubble wrap. But yeah, there are two bottoms. So my friend that I'm building this for, as I said in the other video, he has a friend who's going to do the water feature for this. And so I was discussing with him, we have a plan now as far as what we're going to do. We're going to use the water line base there, so we're not going to be using this piece. And he's actually not close to me. He's not near me at all. So the person doing the water is also not near me at all. So I think what we're, well, not I think. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach the water line one to the bottom of this. Then I'm going to make a mold of the bottom of the boat and make a casting either in resin or fiberglass or something. I'll make a casting of the bottom of the boat so that I can send to the person making the water so they could use that to go ahead and start making the water. That way, when this is done and it goes to my friend, he could just take that mold thing out of the water and just set this into the water and be good to go. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to start getting the water feature done until this was completely done and sent to him. And then his friend would have to be handling a fully finished model to create the water around. And, you have the risk of something being damaged or something like that. So first thing we're going to do is get rid of this and then attach those together and make a mold of that. So let me get set up and ready to make the mold, and I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, so to prepare this to make a mold of the bottom, I taped the waterline panel on with just black electrical tape because black electrical tape is stretchy and it'll form around the curves and nothing sticks to it. And I also taped on the upper deck because I noticed that without the upper deck on it, this whole thing could flex and twist a little bit. So that'll help hold the shape. And then I made a box out of some just aluminum channel and basically just coated the top of the work desk there with some clear packaging tape. And I just taped on some little spacers just to get the bottom off of the bottom surface there. And to make the mold, I've gone back and forth between silicone or plaster. To make a silicone mold would probably be better, but it would be a whole lot more expensive. And for a one-off use, I think plaster will be perfectly fine. And then I'll fill that with plaster, and then I'll set this into there. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, see if I can do this one-handed. Basically, that sets in here just like that. So the plaster level will be pretty much right where my tape is. I didn't do that on purpose. But that should be plenty high enough. And then once the plaster cures, I'll take the boat out of it. And then I'll have that cavity where I can lay in some fiberglass. And then I'll send that fiberglass part to the water maker. So let me get back to you once I get that full of plaster, and we'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so here's the fiberglass laid into the plaster mold. I did use a release agent. I used DC7, which says it's a release agent. I don't remember where I got this. I've had it for probably 20 years. It seems pretty greasy and slick, so it should work. But I coated the whole inside of that with release agent. And the brown stuff that you see in the corners, that is low density. It's West Systems filler. It's a non-structural filler. Sometimes it's called micro balloons. You can also see I have the 105 resin and the 206 hardener, that's the slow hardener. And I do have some fast hardener, but I like to be able to just kind of take my time and not worry about it setting off too quick. So by using the slow hardener, I can just take my time, get it laid in the right way, and just worry about it like a day later. I went ahead and cut off the excess. There's still a little bit here. I'm cut that off later. I've got about, I don't know, 5 layers, and then some sticks, and then 1 layer, and that's just to help maintain the stiffness, just to help keep it flat. And again, I use the filler in the corners just to make sure the corners stay nice and crisp and sharp. And it's cured. I mean, it's not sticky at all, but it's not fully cured. It's still technically a little green, I guess. I don't want to try taking that out yet. I think I want to give it another day, because I'm thinking I'm going to have a struggle, because plaster is kind of, plaster is porous. This was probably not a good idea to use plaster. I should have used like a silicone rubber mold mix, but that would have cost like a whole lot more money. I mean, the plaster is cheap. If I would have used what I should have used, it would have cost, I don't know, $80, $80 to $100 worth of material. This is taking longer because it takes longer to set up and dry. It's going to take longer to get this out. It's going to take longer to get the good side smoothed up and ready. So time-wise, it's taking longer, and I have a bad feeling that this is not going to want to release from the plaster. I just from trying to slightly loosen an edge, I don't know. I mean, the plaster can break away. I can always just break and chisel the plaster away, but that's more time, more mess. If I would have used a silicone rubber, it would have been a whole lot easier. But I was trying to save some money. The end result will be good regardless. I mean, the end result will be the end result. The only difference is how much time versus how much money. So anyways, I'm going to let this set for another day or so, then I'll try to pull it out. And it might be a complete disaster. We'll just have to come back to it later and see. We'll find out tomorrow. Okay, so it became very clear very quickly that this was not going to come out of the mold without destroying the mold. So I grabbed a hammer and I grabbed a chisel and I just started breaking away chunks of the plaster. Here's for example, one of those chunks of plaster that was right there. And just started breaking everything away. And this is what I got now. I still have quite a bit on the bottom. I'm just going to have to chisel all that off and then sand it and wash it all off. But so yeah, still quite a bit of work. So I'll come back and show you what this looks like once it's all cleaned up and sanded smooth and painted. And so yeah, we'll show you what that looks like here in just a bit. So this part right here is done. This is the fiberglass piece that came from the plaster mold of the bottom of the boat. And it is now painted. That's just gray primer and just whatever brown paint that I had. And then a nice thick heavy coat of enamel clear. And so now what's going to happen is I'm going to send this to my friend, and then he's going to give it to his friend, who's going to do the resin water that's going to go around here. So basically what she's going to do is she's going to coat this in a release agent and then form the water and waves around it and then pull this out, and then that'll give a nice recess for the finished model to set into. So that's the plan. This is ready to go. I'll get that sent to him and she can start working on the water while I'm working on the boat. So I need to get that boxed up and shipped. So what I need to do then is get started with the rest of this. So let me put this away and show you what I'm going to do here. So now that that part's done, I can start working on actually building this thing. Now, my friend and I already discussed, we already agreed that we're just going to build it per the kit. He said any extra thing I want to do is completely up to me. He's going to be sending me reference photos, but he's really not too concerned about a lot of excess details and extra stuff. He just wants He just wants the model to be displayed. So just starting with step one here. First step is this piece right here. Gets glued to the side, but we need to cut this out. So actually, I don't even need these yet. So we'll put those off to the side. Yeah, that's a nice sound. So first step is for installing that. We need to cut out this area right here. One way to cut through plastic is use the back side of an X-Acto blade, and you just score along here. It's already scored about halfway through. I typically use plastic weld solvent on most stuff. All right, next up, we have A2, A1, and then A9. And then we have A7, A13, A14, A8, A11. So we'll go ahead and just cut those out. Right here we have, this one's A14. A14 here. 13. This one is 1. Go here. 2. Now these have the little ejector marks here, so I'm just going to clean those up. It looks like those can only go in one way. Yeah, those can only go in one way. So you can't even see the back where those ejector pin marks were. But that's okay, we clean them up anyways. And this one, go in here. And those pins on the back side will go on like that. So that's one of those areas done. Well, not done, I gotta glue it still, just test fit. Highly recommend you test fit everything. And I have 1, 2, 3 more of those to go, but that's how those go. They get cleaned up, test fit, and then we will glue those in place. But that's what those look like when they're done. But again, one more here, here, and here. So 3 more of those to do. I'm going to do all of those off camera, and then I'll come back and show you what those look like when they're all done and glued in. All right, so again, that was hanger doors here, here, that big piece is on, and hanger door here, and then again, this one back here. Of course, all the painting and detailing will be done later. And that is pretty much step 1 done. Now, because of all the time I spent making the fiberglass plug for the bottom of this, I think I'm going to end this video here. It's probably plenty long enough. And I'm thinking that for the size of this, and for as much as there's a lot of repetitive building, I don't think I'm going to record like every step along the way. I think I'm just going to build, and if something interesting comes up, or maybe the beginning of each step, maybe I'll just kind of show you the beginning. You know, for each video I come up, I'll probably just show you the instructions here and then a little bit of what I did. But for a lot of these small details, there's a lot of repetitive building. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. I'll also point out things that can be gotchas, maybe. For example, something that really took me a while to figure out. If you look at the instructions here, that says fore waterline plate and stern waterline plate. Well, the waterline plates, I thought, were these. This goes right on the bottom of the boat. And in here it says cut and remove, and it says please cut this when you choose A7. Well, A7 are the hangar doors. And it says please cut these when you choose the other hangar doors. And I'm looking at these, what I thought were the waterline plates, and thinking, well, this does not match the shape of this. And there's nowhere to cut where they're saying to cut. And I finally realized when I'm looking at other parts that that matches that. If you flip it over, that is that. Well, this isn't your waterline plate. This is your lower deck. This is your lower floor. Goes in right there. And there are places to cut out right here to go around the hangar doors. So, I mean, maybe I'm just slow or stupid or something. I don't know. But it took me a while to figure out. I mean, like I said, once I saw this and I saw that shape, then it occurred to me what I was missing. But I didn't look at these pieces right away. I was focusing on this because it said waterline plate, and that's what I thought that was. So anyways, either the instructions were wrong or I'm just a little slow sometimes, probably a little bit of both. But yeah, things like that we'll talk about. I think this video is probably way too long already, so I'm going to end it here. Again, not a lot done on the actual model, but it did take a long time to make that fiberglass piece for the water feature plug. So anyways, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to call it done. And as always, until next time, thanks for watching.